most humble pranams at our Divine Mother's eyes lotus feet. Dear brothers, sisters, children, elders, we are very, very excited, all the Region 1 YAs, to present the YA program. Thank you for bearing with us. This is kind of a new setup for us as well because we're working without a stage. But I think this way we'll be very integrated with the audience as well. So we're very excited how this is going to turn out. Thank you very much, and we'll start rolling soon. Sarah.
Sairam, come in. Welcome to our May Young Adult Satsang.
Hey guys.
Hi.
Sarah.
Sairam, everyone. It's so good to see all of you here. So for our May Satsang, we're going to be taking one of Swami's quotes and doing a close reading of it, okay? And just, thinking about the questions we have and how we might be able to help one another answer these questions. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Awesome. Ajay Anna, can you read the quote from Swami for us?
Sure. First of all, one should have faith in one's own self. Develop self-confidence, which will lead to self-satisfaction. When you have self-satisfaction, you will be prepared for self-sacrifice. Only through self-sacrifice can one attain self-realization. Self-realization means to realize that you are everything. Sairam.
So we talk about all these terms like self-confidence, self-satisfaction, and self-sacrifice. But my question is, it's kind of a silly question. I'm so sorry, guys. But how do these terms apply in our lives? Do any of you guys have any experiences that you could share where you dealt with these dilemmas using self-confidence, self-satisfaction, and self-sacrifice?
That's a very interesting question, Adirat. Actually, you know what? I went through something recently that really pertains to your question. Do you guys have the time to hear a story?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Hi, welcome. My name's David. I'm the chairman of Hope for All. You must be Kirtan.
Yes.
So please have a seat. You will actually be more comfortable to go with Vishwas.
Yes.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Please have a seat.
It's an honor to be here, sir. I feel very honored to be considered for this role. Thank you.
I'm very glad to hear that. However, when I was going through your application, I was very curious to see that you're an associate lawyer in one of the top law firms in the city. Why are you giving up that promising career and pursuing with us a small non-profit organization? To be honest, our field doesn't even have that much money in it.
That's a very interesting thing you bring up. I actually did not leave my last career at the last firm I worked at. I was fired.
May I ask what happened?
Yeah. It's actually a very interesting story. Do you guys have the time?
Let's go back a few months when Vishwas used to work as a junior associate at one of Boston's top law firms, Pearson, Specter, and Litt. Looks like a fun job, doesn't it? Vishwas is working on a high-profile case involving an NFL player. The player had recently announced through social media that he was gay. Soon after, he found himself taken off the team by his coach because he was apparently not a cultural fit. And guess what happened next? The player decided to sue the coach for discrimination. So Vishwas is part of a team that is representing the NFL player. Oh, and by the way, this is Josh. Vishwas's manager, who is also on the case. Let's now join Vishwas and his boss. Vishwas hands a document to his boss that he thinks would be useful for the case. As he skims through the document, his expression gradually changes from one of calmness to one of concern and fear. He sets the document aside and pulls out a check from his pocket and extends it to Vishwas. As Vishwas attempts to take the check, Josh pulls it back as if to say, "Not so fast." He asks Vishwas to take a closer look at the amount on the check. The amount is $3 million, and Vishwas's eyes are wide with shock and surprise. Josh indicates to Vishwas that if he wants the check, he would have to get rid of the document containing the evidence incriminating the coach. Vishwas is even more shocked. Why is his boss, his mentor, asking him to discard evidence? As he begins to process what just happened, Vishwas slowly starts waving his hands as if to suggest he doesn't want the check. But he does so in a meek, unconvincing manner. Josh is now furious. He gives Vishwas an ultimatum, waving the check in one hand and pointing at the door with the other. Take the check or get out. Vishwas is now on the verge of tears. He does not know how to react. In 1 second, his entire world has come crashing down. He has to choose between his career and his values. After a brief pause, Vishwas chooses to accept the check. Vishwas spends the next few days in absolute turmoil. He's deeply conflicted and regrets saying yes to his boss. He has worked extremely hard to get to where he is in his career. But has he sacrificed his values for his career?
This is the local Sai Center monthly soup kitchen meetup. Oh, and here's the hero of our story, Vishwas. The guy that Vishwas just greeted, that's Arjun, one of Vishwas' closest friends and fellow YA. Let's join the two friends as they go out about preparing food. As they're preparing food, Vishwas and Arjun are shown engaging in some casual conversation. It soon becomes apparent to Arjun that something's up with Vishwas. Arjun can be seen asking Vishwas if everything's okay. Vishwas says yes, but doesn't seem convincing. Arjun is now certain that something is wrong with Vishwas and probes him further. Vishwas tries to assure Arjun that everything is alright, but Arjun's not having it. He asks a couple of volunteers to help with preparing food, and then Vishwas takes a corner. At this point, Vishwas can no longer contain himself and breaks into tears. Arjun consoles him and asks him to explain what was going on. Vishwas describes his situation at work, how his boss offered to pay him $3 million in exchange for suppressing evidence, and how he threatened to fire Vishwas if he didn't comply. At this point, Arjun asks, "Vishwas, what happened next?" A visibly ashamed Vishwas admits to having accepted the check, but he quickly begins to explain why. Arjun is in disbelief. Vishwas once again buries his face in his hands as a sign of despair, unsure what to do next. Arjun pats Vishwas on his back and asks Vishwas to face him. Arjun then gestures to Vishwas's heart and asks, "What does your conscience say?" Arjun asks Vishwas to listen to his conscience and have faith that it will guide him to the right place. Vishwas now seems a lot calmer and starts to appear invigorated. He embraces Arjun and thanks him for being there.
The following day at Pearson, Specter, and Litt. Rather abruptly, Vishwas pulls out the check given to him by Josh and places it on his desk with a smile on his face. With a confused look on his face, Josh demands an explanation. Vishwas has the document containing the evidence in his hand. He very politely informs Josh that he's not going to suppress the evidence. Further, he will make sure it reaches the right people so that justice is served. He appears to be at peace, as if to suggest that he has come to terms with the possibility of getting fired. With an annoyed look on his face, Josh snatches the check from his desk and disdainfully dismisses Vishwas. Before leaving, Vishwas tries to shake hands with Josh, but Josh ignores him. Vishwas wishes him well and is seen leaving the office.
We return to the scene of the interview involving Vishwas and David at Hope for All.
So there we go. That's the story of how I left my last career.
Wow. That was a really touching story. I'm lost for words. But if I may ask you, what did your friends say to you that made you go stand up to your boss?
My friend, Arjun, he told me to have faith.
Faith? What does faith have to do with this?
Everything. Tell me, what does self-confidence mean to you?
Self-confidence. Self-confidence is to trust one's feel in one's ability.
Then, what does faith mean to you?
Faith? Faith is also trust in somebody or something like God.
Precisely. That was a great definition. So, if I were to believe that God resides within me, wouldn't faith and self-confidence be the same exact thing? My friend Arjun told me that I should realize the inner divinity within myself. And once I realize this divinity, then I can have faith in myself, and self-confidence will automatically follow. Arjun told me not to stand up to my boss, but he told me to stand up for what I believe in. He told me to stand for what was right.
Which you could not have accomplished without faith or self-confidence. Well, I'm really glad you told me about this and we cleared out that you were not at fault for this firing. I'll definitely keep in touch with you and you'll hear back from us very soon.
Thank you so much.
The YAs are all gathered together in a circle, back at satsang.
So there you go, that's my story. I really hope it was able to answer your question about self-confidence.
Thanks for sharing, Vishwas. It was a really nice story. So, but what about self-satisfaction? I know that Swami has talked a lot about sealing on desires. Is that what that is? And how do we get there without giving up all of our things and going to the forest?
I think that the idea of a ceiling on desires is definitely helpful when we're trying to reach a state of self-satisfaction. But I don't think that knowing that what we have is enough or being content with what we have means giving everything up and living in solitude. Maybe it just means that we're conscious about the sources from which we derive contentment and satisfaction. I actually have a story that I recently happened to me that I'd wanted to share with any of you, if that was okay. And I think it might help to show how self-satisfaction can be implemented in all of our lives.
Pooja is a young woman working as a business analyst on Wall Street and is struggling to find order among the chaos in her life. She works for a huge company, and her superiors believe that she will have an immensely successful career. In her personal life, Pooja has many friends who support her. She also has a passion for dance that she uses as a release. However, she is mentally struggling as she does not feel that she fulfills each of her duties completely.
Pooja, it's 7:30 on a Friday night. What are you still doing here?
I'm sorry, I have to finish this report. It was due almost a week ago, and I have to present it to the board on Monday, otherwise we'll fall really behind. I'm sorry.
I get it, but you've been so busy lately. I feel like you're gonna burn out. Come on, let's get dinner.
I'm so sorry. If my boss finds out that I've been rushing this, he'll be so upset. I'll see you on Monday.
Whatever.
Stressed and starting to feel overwhelmed, Pooja struggles to finish the project. Over the weekend, she isolates herself. She starts to worry that her boss will think of her as incompetent. After all, he will be the one that decides if she gets the promotion.
This is terrible. I couldn't manage my time properly, and now I'm stuck here writing my review, which is due tomorrow, and it's not even going to be any good because I'm rushing to finish it. If I could have managed my time better, maybe I could have gotten dinner with Dia. She probably thinks I'm the worst friend.
Monday morning, the day of the presentation. Thoughts of self-doubt arise in Pooja's head, and unfortunately, they haunt her throughout her review.
Hi Pooja, hope you are doing well this morning. We're all thrilled to see what you have put together. I know you have amazing ideas.
Thank you.
Pooja starts giving her presentation and falters multiple times. She stops in the middle quite frequently to catch her breath. The other board members watch her closely, analyzing every piece of information.
So in total, and as you can see, based on our numbers from our last quarter and our recent acquisition of these 2 clients, our company is only growing stronger, and I truly believe that there is no downside for us, and if we continue, we will continue to grow and prosper. And I really appreciate you coming in, and feel free to ask me any questions, and thank you once again for your time.
Well done, Pooja. Your presentation was good, but I have to be honest with you. I was expecting a little more from you. I know this is not your best work. You are more capable of it. Hopefully in our next meeting, you bring your game.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I understand. I will definitely make it stronger before next time.
Great.
Great. I already thought myself incapable. And now my boss just told me that he expects more from me. I feel so lost. There's so much to do, and I want to be the best in everything, but I just can't.
Pooja is sitting at home on a Saturday and doing some work for her mother. Her older sister is getting married, and her mom wanted her to go through the guest list and start creating invitations. Her mother wanted all the invitations to be sent before Monday, and though she was given this task some time ago, Pooja just sat down to complete her project. While doing her work, she gets a call from Maya, her friend and dancer.
Hello?
Hey, Pooja, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you, Maya?
I'm doing well. I was just wondering if you'd be able to come into the dance studio today?
I'm so sorry. I'm absolutely swamped.
Pooja, you're always doing work. Either on the working days you're always at the company, or on the weekends you're doing something or the other. Can't you just take 1 hour to come into the studio? I asked everybody I knew if they could come through, and they all said no. So you were the only person that I relied on, and now you're telling me that you can't come?
I'm so sorry. I know I should have told you before. I apologize.
This isn't like you, Pooja. I know with this new job and this new project at work, you're really under stress and you don't have that much time, but I'm telling you, if you come into the studio just for a little bit and dance, you'll feel so much better and it'll release all your tension, trust me.
You know I want to, but my mom wants me to send these invitations out by Monday, and I have 100 more to go through.
The line goes blank, and Pooja puts her head in her hands. She's slowly shaking, her anxiety starting to pile up.
First Dia, then my boss, and now Maya. I can't seem to do anything right. I don't know what to do anymore.
By contemplating too much on the future, Pooja feels unsatisfied. The new project at work has taken a huge toll on her, both physically and mentally. By trying to impress her bosses, she loses relations with most of her friends. On top of that, if she doesn't get the promotion, she knows her parents will be sad. She doesn't have time to dance, and worst of all, she hasn't been to bhajans or YA satsang in months. This internal dilemma tears her apart, and she feels like she is losing a part of herself.
Pooja meets up with her good friend and fellow YA Anjana for coffee. Anjana, who's 2 years older than Pooja, asks Pooja to coffee because she hasn't seen her in months. She knows how dedicated Pooja is to the Sai community, and her absence over the past few months has Anjana worried. Anjana asks Pooja what's been bothering her lately, and Pooja responds with distress. She explains to Anjana about how work has completely taken over her life, and she's unable to do any of the other activities that she actually enjoys doing. As a result, she's become more and more anxious about work because she believes that it's the only thing she's putting in effort for right now, so it has to be her best work. Pooja talks about how she misses hanging out with her YA friends, how she longs to dance but feels restricted, and how much she wishes for balance in her life again.
Anjana, I'm at a really low point. I just feel so unsatisfied in every aspect of my life, and I feel like I'm letting everyone down around me.
Pooja, you worry too much. Instead of being proud of everything you've done, you constantly put yourself down.
But it feels like there's just no other way. Life is like this wheel, and I'm a hamster just running and getting nowhere.
Our lives have multiple realms, Pooja. Our personal life, our social life, our professional life, and sometimes things get overwhelming because we can't achieve everything we perceive ourselves to be. But that's not true.
What do you mean? I don't understand. How can I satisfy all of my desires while still maintaining a healthy mental state?
That's the most important part, Pooja, your mentality. Correct me if I'm wrong. You feel incapable because you feel you can't do everything you would like?
Well, yeah. I mean, my success depends on how well I complete my work and how much of it I do.
It's hard to accept, Pooja. But what if you do one or two things wholeheartedly? You'll feel less overwhelmed, and in the end, you may even end up happier. I was in your steps one time. I was a student, finishing up school and trying to maintain my grades. At the same time, I was hoping to maintain my commitment to my friends, my family, and committing to extracurricular activities. But I noticed, like you, that it was just getting too much. To me, more was better. But I wasn't getting any better. And then I remembered something that Swami would always say: be simple, be sincere. And when I took this upon, I realized that though I did do less, if I did them wholeheartedly and with compassion, I ended up more happier than ever.
Wow, Anjana. I didn't know you'd gone through something similar. It's really comforting to know that there's someone who's been through it and overcome it.
Yes, friend, we all go through it. And I'm always here for you, and so are the other YAs.
Back at the YA satsang,
So, Pooja, what did you do to find satisfaction?
So essentially, I went home that night after speaking with Anjana, and I made a list of all of my commitments: personal, professional, and spiritual. And on one level, I decided which of my commitments were necessary and which of them I was just taking on to make other people happy. But on another level, I also realized that I needed to find contentment and satisfaction from within myself and not from how much other people approved of me. I realized that I was basing my contentment and satisfaction on a lot of external validation. But in fact, we have the power to set expectations for our own contentment by limiting our desires. In a way, pursuing my spiritual goals helped me realize my personal and professional ones as well.
Pooja, right? Hi,
Hi.
my name is Sheila.
Sairam.
I'm a new YA here actually. I've been facing something that's very similar to yours and with very similar problems like balancing work, music, and community building. But my experience has made me think more about self-sacrifice. It's very interesting how Swami's teachings can be applied in so many different ways to the challenges that we're facing in our lives. Here, let me tell you what I'm talking about so you can see what's going on.
Everyone, meet Sheila. She works as a businesswoman and cares deeply about female empowerment in the corporate department workplace. #gender equality. She does her best to make sure deserving female entrepreneurs get a chance to have their dreams come true. Here she is, listening to a pitch from an interesting company.
Wow, that's a great idea, but I'm just a bit concerned about the lack of entrepreneurial experience. This is your first venture, isn't it?
Yes, it is, but I think we can manage the company well. We have gathered over $5 million, and we've helped build a foundational tech for sustainable products over the past 2 years.
Exactly. And as you can see, we have even assembled an experienced panel of advisors and consultants right here. And I think together we have built a formidable company. With your backing, I think we will have all the ingredients for a successful IPO next year.
Good. I like that confidence. You know, these traits are something that I look for when I'm looking to invest. And I look forward to working with you both in the future.
Thank you.
One weekend, Sheila decides to attend One Voice, a program put on by her YA friends. A musician herself, she's amazed by how talented these young people are. Just as she's sitting there enjoying the music, an auntie from the community approaches her.
Oh, hello, Sheila. How are you? Oh my God, it's so nice to see you. How are you, dear?
So good to see you too, Auntie. How are you?
Oh yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. It's so nice to see you. It's been so long. I remember when you used to sit on that stage and sing as well. How are you?
I'm doing great, Auntie, but honestly, I still do sing, but I just haven't been able to participate in One Voice in a while.
I see. Sheila, you should sing more, Ma. You're so talented. Goddess Saraswati has surely showered her blessings on you. Yeah, you should sing more. Oh, I have a request. My daughter Sanjana, she's a budding musician, you see, and I was wondering if you could give her some lessons, in music and teach her how to sing.
Auntie, I'm so sorry, but I'm stretched so thin at work, and I don't have time for music.
I see. Okay, take care, Beta. Take care.
They dwell on Sanjana's talents, feeling grateful they were able to hear her sing. Sheila mentions to her mom how Sanjana's mother had requested her to give her music lessons.
Sanjay is very talented, na?
Yeah.
What bhavam.
Such a great singer.
You should sing with her. It would be useful for both of you.
But Amma, I don't have time. And I can't add anything on anymore into my schedule.
Kanat, there are certain things that are worth the sacrifice. I'm sure you can find it in your busy schedule to help train a young musician. I remember when I was raising you, I had to quit my job as a departmental chair so that I could attend all of your musical performances and be part of your development as a musician. Also, you love music. This would be a great opportunity to continue the art of music.
Yeah, definitely, Emma. Thank you.
Sheila agrees to try giving Sanjana voice lessons. They begin the following week, and both Sheila and Sanjana quickly realize how much they enjoy learning from one another. Sheila goes back to work and tries to make room in her schedule for lessons with Sanjana. She delegates some of her work responsibilities to another colleague. At the same time, Sanjana is beckoned by her friends to come play soccer. She waves them off, goes home, turns on the Shruti box, and begins to sing. Sheila is currently in a conflict. She loves her job and everything it represents for her interests and principles. Yet, teaching music to Sanjana has opened up her desire to spend more time teaching music. What is Sheila to do?
I'm so confused. Amma sacrificed so much for me to be here, and Sanjana is such a sweet girl, and our classes together gives me so much joy and fulfillment. And she sacrificed so much to stay committed to her music lessons. And I really haven't realized how much I love teaching music.
But work is also equally important to me too. But I'm not doing justice to either music or work. So why is this so hard? Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? Like, do I really have to choose between these?
So wait, hold on just 1 second now. You're telling me that that's the end of your story? What did you finally decide to do?
To be honest, that's the reason why I'm here at the satsang. I just wanted to get some insight on what to choose. You see, like, this is a problem that I'm currently experiencing, and in an ideal world, we'll be able to do both and do them really well. But that's just not reality.
So, I'm full of questions, and I have another one. These terms like self-confidence and self-satisfaction, to help solve your problem and dilemma, do you think maybe using Vishwas's experience and Pooja's experience, maybe that could help you find your answer when it comes to self-sacrifice?
Perhaps, but how can self-confidence and self-satisfaction help me think more about self-sacrifice?
Well, we've heard 3 really interesting stories today from our young adults. And Swami's teachings can help guide us and help us deal with the struggles and dilemmas that we face every day. And I think that we all still have a lot of questions about self-confidence, self-satisfaction, and self-sacrifice, because this is really a lifelong process.
That's a fantastic point, Anna. And given this Herculean task of deconstructing from these wonderful stories how self-satisfaction, self-confidence, self-sacrifice relate to self-realization, we need all of your help. And when I say all of your help, I mean everyone who's present here. We need every one of your help, because you've all been part of this wonderful satsang as well. But unfortunately, to get 400 answers, I don't think we have enough time today. So we're going to do something interesting. We're going to have chart paper stuck all over the main hall. We're hoping that throughout this retreat, you'll have the opportunity to interact with these chart papers, where we'll have the question again written down. And in a 1 to 2 sentence succinct answer, you can put your own thoughts on how these things relate, and maybe even personal anecdotes. So we're really hoping that this satsang continues for the rest of the retreat as well. Thank you all for patiently being with us. Sai Ram.